So yes, my name is Reverend SeiFu, and I'm here to talk to you about spiritual companionship. And before I do, I wanted to talk a little bit about why anyone might consider a spiritual companion or a spiritual guide. And so this past Sunday, I was fortunate to meet with Bill Porter. I don't know if some of you know who Bill Porter is. He's also known as Red Pine. And he's probably the leading translator of Buddhist and Taoist texts from Chinese into English of the last 40 years or so. And so he was doing a talk after a documentary that was done about him, and he's best known for his translation of classical Chinese poetry. And there's the usual debate in the translation world about, do you translate literally? How much of how many liberties can you take when you translate with the source language and the target language? And he said, translation is not about words at all. The real poem is underneath all the words, And if you can listen deeply, you can hear that real poem. And so that's really what we're going for in spiritual companionship, is to listen to the melody underneath all of our thinking, discriminating, conceptualizing about God, the universe, Allah, the higher, the ground of all being, or however you might define it. And so that's the real key. It's to explore ultimate meaning and ultimate purpose, and to explore it through your own lens rather than through the lens of the person companioning you. And that's very important. So it's not, you see me, in the robes of a Zen priest, but if I'm companioning you, we will rarely talk about Zen unless you bring it up, right? So it has nothing to do with what the person companioning you feels, believes, or acts on, and everything to do with how you come to your own sense of ultimate purpose and ultimate meaning. And that's critical because there's been so much trouble in this world with established religions and corruption and power imbalances. And so a companion is a critical construct for someone who's actually walking alongside you, not in front of you, not behind you, not leading you, but walking beside you and maybe alerting you to, as you would if you're mountaineering. And it's like, well, there's a crevasse over there, or you might fall there, or watch out for that rock, or this path is deceptive. So someone who actually has a high degree of experience with spirituality, spiritual exploration, who has considerable amount of training, and there's training, various kinds of training through various traditions, and actually even through very non-traditional means. The Pew Center talks about the largest growing spiritual demographic in the world being the spiritually unaffiliated, right? The what they call the nuns, or the spiritual independents. And so how you navigate your way to your own sense of ultimate meaning, ultimate purpose, those questions that each of us have inside of us right from the get-go, which is beyond this box that I occupy in my daily life, whether it's my job or my calling, my profession, there is an ultimate purpose and there's an ultimate meaning. And all of us want to explore that, and all of us will be forced to explore that the closer to the passing of these temporary bodies that we occupy comes. And so there's an invitation here to, as Rumi would say, to die before you die. We also say that in the Zen tradition. And that doesn't mean a physical death. It means a death of all of the limitations that are imposed on us and that we impose on ourselves, that we learn to internalize. So it's really about following a path of freedom and liberation towards ultimate meaning and purpose as each of us defines that. No two are alike. Everybody has their own unique path. So a little bit about what the process is it's usually a one-on-one process, although we also do something known as group spiritual companionship. It can be done in groups, it can be done one-to-many, but it's usually most effective one-to-one. And one-to-one because this is a very intimate practice. It's a very intimate form of discerning. And the person accompanying you, our job is to sit with you and to listen you into your own sense of, it's not even discovery, it's usually more like remembering, the remembering of who you truly are, your true essence, your true purpose, your true meaning. And that awareness is what then makes you free to return to the world as it will and navigate it with a new sense of understanding and insight and an orientation to the thing that all of spiritual paths have in common, which is moving us towards living a life of loving purpose, a life of love and meaning, aligning with love with a capital L. So, I like to say that we're intimacy workers, that spiritual companions are intimacy workers, because we partner with you and we allow you to come into your own. And I'm always saying that most of us, there's that little voice inside. Everybody's always talking about the little voice inside that knows better than we do when we're doing something right or something wrong. And it's making sure that voice is not so little anymore, that it becomes louder and louder, so that from being in the background, it actually moves to the foreground. And that the things that are in the foreground in our lives, which are usually, we worry about lots of trivial things, unimportant things. We can get very worked up about them, that those things move to the background. And that, what is the ultimate purpose of my life while I'm here? What is it that is going to give me true meaning and a true sense of fulfillment, I guess is the word I would use. So those are some of the hallmarks: respecting the agency of the people we companion, deep listening and witnessing are key attributes. And that's listening not as a passive act, but as a very active act. So active listening, meaning listening without judgment or prejudgment, trying to really allow the people we're companioning space to reveal themselves to themselves. And our job as companions is to mirror and support and augment meaning to encourage those we companion to keep going and to keep exploring and to keep peeling the layers further and further back until they reach a sense of revelation, a sense of insight. There's other hallmarks, so committed to mutuality. This is the, I'm sure most of you, if not all of us, have experienced this, where at a certain point when you're taught and your teacher, you say the student at a certain point reaches the level of their teacher, the student reaches the level of their teacher, that there's an interchange and a kind of feedback mechanism where we're both teaching each other. Parents and children experience this a lot. I certainly have as a father, where it's the children who are educating me, not the other way around, where it's my children who are teaching me. And so a companion and companion is a very similar process. It's very symbiotic, and we tend to start to melt into each other in a way, I would say. And we're having this larger universal conversation as well that we're all constantly having with each other, whether we realize it or not. We're ethical, we try to do no harm, and we try to respect boundaries, we try to be supportive, and leave our own. I mean, there are some exceptions to this rule, obviously, but really respecting the agency of the person and the primacy of their orientation as we do these sessions. Skillful means adapting, being fluid, and being willing to accommodate the different phases that each of us are in at any stage of our lives, even to the point of, sometimes during a day you feel one way in the morning and feel another way in the evening, and so the people who are companioning you should be able to adapt to that. It's contemplative, so very contemplative grounding is key. Lifelong learning, accountability, very focused on experience. So I started with Red Pine, and that's probably here where I'm going to finish, is that true poem that's beneath all of these words that I'm saying. There is a true poem, and it's not my poem. It's the poetry of the universe, the poetry of God, the poetry of the eternal, the poetry of forever. And that is something that we can feel and experience better than we can intellectually explain or describe. So it's an authentic, powerful feeling, transcendent feeling, a remembering, a deep spiritual remembering of who we truly are. So that's a little bit about spiritual companionship, and we're going to be around. There's going to be another session this afternoon where I'll go into it a little more deeply and show you what it looks like in action on stage, in a smaller stage. And then we have spiritual companion sessions available to all of you at the Fetzer Lounge. And so I'll leave you with that. Thank you very much.